Now we are on to que. Que. Que serves as the direct object of the verb in a relative clause. You might want to pause to wrap your head around that. It serves as the direct object of the verb in a relative clause. In English, it can be translated to mean that. First example, le livre que tu m'as prêté est très intéressant. The book that you lent me is very interesting. The book that you lent me is very interesting. So you can probably guess right now that this is what que is representing, that. But before, let us take this a step further. I'm going to divide this sentence into two parts so we can fully explore the function of the relative pronoun que. So we have the main phrase, and then this here is the relative clause. So we all know that the relative clause contains info about the object in the main clause or main phrase. This info in this case is ushered in by que. So in the first part of the sentence, we have le livre. So what about le livre? Do we know anything about this book? Yes. The information we are looking for is contained here. Que tu m'as prêté est très intéressant. And this extra information here is ushered in by que. Finally, que in this case is the object in the relative clause. So this is what differentiates que from qui. Qui is the subject, while que is the object. We could convert this in such a way that we use qui instead of que. But then for us to do this, we must ensure that qui is serving as a subject. Let us zoom in a little bit. Look at this. Tu m'as prêté le livre qui est très intéressant. You gave me the book which is very interesting. You can divide this into two parts, the main clause and the relative clause. In this relative clause, we can see that qui is the one carrying out the verb, which makes it the subject. Also, it ushers in this information about livre. Let us proceed. Example number 2. Je cherche le livre de maths que j'ai oublié dans le couloir. I'm looking for the math book that I forgot in the hallway. So we have the main clause and we have this relative clause. So the relative clause here is throwing light on the main clause, giving us information, particularly the direct object in this main clause, which is livre de maths. The extra information is ushered in by que. Also, que is functioning as the object of the verb avoir. This que is kind of an alter ego to livre de maths, representing livre de maths in the relative clause. Because after all, we are talking about pronouns. Our basic understanding of pronoun is that it replaces nouns. So in this case, que, qui, and other pronouns we are going to handle, they all replace the main object or subject in the relative clause. More examples. Les amis que j'ai invités viendront ce soir. The friends that I invited will come tonight. So we have the first part of the sentence. This is not up to a clause, so I'm going to call it the main phrase. And then the subsequent part of the sentence that I will call the relative clause. But as a relative pronoun, que ushers in information about the noun phrase, les amis, and also it functions as the object in this relative clause. So that's all for que. See you in the next class.